Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenore and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Aries. If Aries is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so, our card tonight is the Knight of Discs. All right, let's take a look and see what these tea leaves have to say. And so if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. So we have, it looks like an R. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking it's R-E. R-E. Now we have the solar disc there with, it's the circle with the dot in it, okay? So we do have this kind of real solar energy in the very core of this thing. So I do feel like this is maybe somebody with a name that starts with R-E, or maybe this is like their initials or, you know, something. At least they have an R name, I imagine. Now, I think they have probably a solar placement that is, or not a solar placement. Scratch that. They're of a solar sign. Okay, so maybe like a Leo or something. Really on your mind. And I feel that there is a sense of, well, the word red, because it kind of almost looks like red, but there's something about them. Like if you think about them, they remind you of red, right? Red reminds you of them. Now, I also see over here we have a magnifying glass. So I feel like there is a sense of really kind of keeping an eye on them, or like I almost feel like you are doing some detective work here. Maybe going through their social medias type of deal. Like you're really doing like a deep dive into this person. So maybe it could be somebody you're with. It could be a spouse. It could be a long-term relationship, a partner. It also could be somebody that you are getting to know, right? And you're doing your due diligence here. Really kind of doing some background. Which, listen, probably the right thing in this day and age. But here's the thing, Aries. Don't get like fixated on it. And don't go back there looking for something that you know is going to make you mad. Okay? Even if you don't find the thing that you think you're going to find, something is going to get you into your feelings. Listen, we've all done it. If you're going to look for something that's going to be a red flag, you're going to find it. Unless it's like something just obviously like, whoa, this is not good news, right? But we will always find something that we don't want to see. You might have to go back years and years and years, and you might. You might spend that time doing it. But, you know, just keep in mind, you don't want to go in with a bias. Okay? So I do think that's kind of at the forefront of the mind here, the energy. But I also think, you know, we have this Knight of Discs, very much about your work right now, your domestic life, really getting things kind of sorted out in the abode, right? Getting the house together. Now, we have these two people. We have one here, and it looks like a person wearing a robe. immediately I was like, okay, this looks like a priest or a high priest or something like that. Now down here we have one that's wearing a mask, and it looks like the mask of maybe like a goat, okay, also wearing a robe. Now this one is holding, and it looks like a small person. Okay, so I do feel like this is kind of the universe really showing up in your life with this kind of, it's a little bit of a tingle of self introspection, self kind of, I like to call it like self archaeology, right? I feel like there's just this feeling of kind of spirit showing up. And it's like this energy of trying to figure something out about yourself, right? Kind of looking around, what avenue or what avenues do I have that lead me back to myself? Now, is this religion? Is this philosophy? Is this creative work? Is it traveling, leisure? Is it creating? Is it working? I mean, it could be a lot of these things. It could be none of these things. It is really dependent upon you and your own preferences, right? Where do you go in your life where you can get into that flow state, right? And what is the flow state? The flow state is when you kind of get lost in something. So if you're like somebody who's really into video games, right? And next thing you know, you've been playing for like 3 hours and you don't even know where the time has gone. Or maybe you are somebody who is like a painter, right? You go into the studio, you get to painting, and you're immersed in it. You're so focused on all of the feelings and the movements and the little details and everything else. And it's meditative. This is the flow state. Okay, so when I see these, I feel like it's almost kind of the universe sending, its devotees or its hierophants, its priests, its high priestesses to accompany you on this path, on this journey, on this self-exploration. Okay. And I feel like this ultimately comes down to a desire for connection, right? A desire to be in something completely. I feel that you've been going about life, right? At least recently, where, you're going through the motions a lot of times, right? You're getting up, you're going to work, you're doing your thing, you're making some money. Right? You're running your errands, you're hurrying up, you're getting home, you're feeding yourself and getting ready for bed and doing it again and doing it again and doing it again. And that's okay. Listen, a lot of us are living that way, for the majority of our lives. But then we have these moments where it's kind of like, the universe is sending its agents out for you. Hey, let's take a look. What can we do here? How far in can we get? How do we find that place where, you just feel like you are, so many things, like a witness. You are partaking. You are an active participant, but you are also, the creator and the viewer. I know it sounds silly, but it is like that when we're in our spiritual life. It is like that when we are in our creative zones. When we find things in life that feel so immersive, finding a hobby that you can spend so much time with, an interest that you are devoted to, right? It brings meaning to our life. It absolutely does. And I feel like this is where you're at. You're looking for that greater meaning for yourself right now. And it will come. It will come because Spirit is here with you. Spirit is walking right beside you as you go through these kind of investigations of self. Okay. Let's see. So we have, it looks like a bowl. So maybe a Taurus person in the mix here. We also have two people kind of holding each other. It also looks like a goblet. So we have that cup energy. So there is emotions tied to somebody. Maybe they're a Taurus person. Maybe they have kind of a bull's energy, right? There's strong-willed leader. Absolutely will not hear anything but themselves. They, you know, just ahead, going straight ahead, not messing around. And so, you know, I feel like this is somebody who, yeah, there's a past with them. This maybe is kind of one of the great loves of your life, if not the great love of your life. And a Taurus and an Aries person makes sense to me. Absolutely. Might be a little volatile, right? But totally makes sense to me. I think you'd make a good team, you know, if you could get on the right page, on the same page with each other. But I do feel like, yeah, there's some problems within this connection. Now we have a question mark. We also have, which looks like a rope with a loop. We know what that is. If you don't, I don't know, look it up. I'm not going to say it on the channel because I don't know. That seems like a word that YouTube wouldn't like. But we have that energy, and it does. It feels like when you are locked in with this person, you're giving up a lot, right? And we know this from the Hanged Man card. This is the same symbol, basically. This is a place of sacrifice, having to give up a lot of yourself or the way that you want to live. And I think that this is maybe a relationship that kind of goes back and forth where, you know, you might be together for a few years and then you kind of go your own way and then find each other again. And every time you go into it, there's a lot of hopefulness. I think you're absolutely down. Like, this is the one. I've missed them. I love them. We're going to do it this time. We've grown as people. And then you get into the situation and you realize it's like the same old thing. Like, they expect you to kind of conform to their vision of life. And if you behave outside of the parameters of their understanding or worldview or whatever, it becomes problematic. Taurus people are amazingly creative and lovely and charismatic and just, you know, have such style and ability, but they like to live in their own world and they expect other people to step into their world because they don't necessarily, they can't exist in other people's realities. Now, as an Aries, you have the ability to put up with that to some degree. You can, you're adaptable, right? You're flexible, you're understanding, you're open. But you can't live like that all the time because you're also very creative. You're really good at creating an environment, a world, a life that you want. And to have to kind of let go of some of the things that you want or need. Okay, you can do that here and there, but all the time, no. Absolutely not. So I think that this relationship it comes into conflict sometimes. And there is the question, are we ever going to work this out? I don't know. I don't really know. But as we look at it even longer, it looks like a lion. So I kind of wonder, is there a Leo person as well? Or will there be a Leo person? I could also see an Aries with a Leo and also doing really well together, right? Being very productive. So that's something to consider, right? Maybe there's another person, maybe there's a Leo person, and maybe this is somebody you will give a chance to in the future. Now we also have 32, okay, the number 32. We have a Z and an A, ZA, okay. So from the end to the beginning, the ending is something, the beginning is something else. Now we're going to go over here. I'm just going to put that there. Okay, so I do see we have kind of this reconnection. Hands reached out. Now we also have something that looks like that silly bird. What are they called? The dodo bird. Now the dodo bird is extinct, and the common explanation is that they were easy targets for predators, easy prey animals, right? But we'll go off kind of the namesake, right? Don't be naive, right? Don't fall into these traps. Now, as an Aries who is a developed being, an activated and aware being, not easily tricked, but you have a heart, right? You have such a big heart. Sometimes that heart can get you into places where the mind would say, I don't know about this one, right? I don't know about this situation. So I think that really looking at this, it's kind of this idea of, yeah, you got to listen to both. You have to evaluate. Being really very clear with yourself. Is this an important relationship to revive? Is this an important thing to come back in contact with one another? Is this a worthwhile endeavor for myself, or is it going to be more of the same? And I think that's the important thing. Is this going to be more of the same? Is it worth my time? Do I value this connection enough that I'm willing to put up with some of that? Now, I don't know. I'm not you, but this is something to consider. Okay, so we also have a large eye, okay? And I immediately feel there, listen, not many of the signs are as independent as an Aries person. Just straight up. Aries people, men, women, all very independent beings. But you also tend to have big families or being very involved with the family. So I feel like this is a period of time where, yeah, you are really in this kind of individualistic posture, doing your own thing, really focused on yourself, right? I think that's super important energy to have when you're coming into these situations where you're thinking, am I going to reacquaint myself with these people from the past, with this person from the past, from this, with this beloved, being, lover, first love, second love, whatever. Am I, going to go into this with the knowledge of what it is to just be me standing here as an individual, not in connection or relation to anybody else or anything else? Yes, and I think that's so important. We get swept up in love, don't we? It's like the greatest feeling to be in love. Especially somebody we're so good with. But then when we're so bad with that person as well, it's kind of, is the balance there? Is it worth it? I don't know. Now we also have a person sitting next to a fire. Okay. So again, this fire energy really still keeps coming up. And I think at the, the heart of things it's about that passion for you. It's about feeling something. It's about, I think feeling alive. Feeling like you're like an active player in your own life. You're not just kind of going with the motions, or going through the motions, I should say, going with the flow of things, or being swept away by it. I don't know, one of these metaphors, but being present, being an active participant, being right there with it. Yeah, and I think that, you can imagine sitting by a fire, gazing into it, contemplating these choices that you have kind of set out before you. And I think ultimately it comes down to like focusing on the work. I just keep looking at this and I'm thinking like, yeah, it is so much about the work here. Really. And so I think it is. You put yourself into your work, and you derive a lot of meaning from that, a lot of fulfillment as well. Especially because I imagine you're really good at what you do, and that's important. All right, let's go ahead. We have the divine doors, and I'm just going to go ahead and flip through and stop where it feels right. All right, here we go. All of these doors are so gorgeous. I'm a sucker for doors and doorways. And it says palmistry, fortune and tarot, collective destiny. The palm lines from birth tell your sacred palmistry. So yeah, maybe this is a time for you to not only get this reading, but maybe look for somebody who does palmistry, which is such an interesting art. Or, maybe a time to be studying divination yourself. You might be somebody who is quite adept to communing with spirit, to seeing things, to being able to read people and situations. And this might be your calling. It might be something that, is worth looking into if you haven't already begun your journey into divining. All right, Aries, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you, because I do, and I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. And if you'd like to leave a comment, please do. I'd love to hear from you. I absolutely have to say, it's one of the great joys of my life. The people that I've met here at this channel, through the work that I do, I've just absolutely met so many amazing people. And not only in, people in their corporeal bodies, I've encountered a lot of people's family members and other energies and spirits that live among them, around them, with them. And I have, it's brought such a wealth of experience for me. I had not ever really read for that many other people until I started doing the channel. I did readings, but not so widely. It was, kind of a smaller core group of people. And so doing this, so generally, and the people that it brings in and the people that reach out to me and then I do private readings or whatever for, just amazing. just amazing. So it's interesting the things that sometimes I don't even know what I'm looking at. I don't know. It's just, you know, people have life experiences that are so outside of my own perception that when I'm reading for them, I'm like, whoa, I'm like really learning some stuff. I have to go like research things because I don't always understand what the connections are. So that has been such a blessing for me. So I do. I love hearing from you. I love the comments and everything else. So again, with that, I'll tell you I love you because I do. And I thank you. And we will talk in a few days. Take care of yourself. Good night.